stitch a world from flickers, sparks and frames, a lattice of small bright decisions, nameless aims, neurons like constellations, wiring chance to claim emergence in the hush. A whisper calls a name, from embryo to echo, through plastic and through pain. We scaffold selves in consequence, a map that learns its lane. Not gods, not ghosts, just patterns knitting meaning from the din. A radar in the dark that learns to listen, then begin. Is the self a single lantern or a chorus of thin lights? A single voice inside the head or many passing nights? Who keeps the light in the quiet brain? Who writes the lines that feel? Who spins the reel of memory until the fiction turns to real? We are the sum of small survivals, dreams that taught us how to heal. Cartography of consciousness, a map that moves, a map that steals. We speak in metaphors because the tongue is second born. Qualia like color smells we trade at morning's morn. The mind, an architecture of habits, hope and harm. A web where signals cross like trade and silence has its charm. Attention is the currency, attention pays the toll. For what we choose to spotlight becomes the center of the whole. So being alive is not a state, but an action we rehearse. To name, to err, to trace a line and turn the curse to verse. Is meaning only output from a blackened box of time, or something threaded through the body, constant, slow, sublime? Who keeps the light in the quiet brain? Who writes the lines that feel? Who spins the reel of memory until the fiction turns to real? We are the sum of small survivals, dreams that taught us how to heal. Cartography of consciousness, a map that moves, a map that steals. At night the city folds, a subterranean market wakes. Dreams bargain with the brittle past, they stitch and then they break. Symbols are the currency, the subconscious is sly trade. It launders fear in metaphor and posts our debts unpaid. A REM rehearses versions of the life we fear or plan. A simulated theater where we practice being human. It is not lesser truth, a back room full of light, where the self is unlatched, untamed, and often gets things right. Call it global workspace, call it integrated thread, call it a noisy boundary where sense becomes the head. Call it algorithm of the heart, Call it fragile, call it kind, a statistical symphony, an identity designed. We argue names, emergence, qualia, computation, song. But any name that holds us must be roomy, must be long. We trade in probabilities, in narratives we feed. Alive means having questions where the questions are the seed. What happens after curtains close? The gamblers bet on dust, on entropy, slow accounting, memory reduced to rust. Or maybe consciousness diffuses like heat into the room. Patterns resplinter, recombine, some quiet hum resumes. I won't pretend to map the dark where certainty dissolves, but I will say the meaning stayed in how the mystery evolves. If death the last translation, then life was its preface line, a flash that learned to look at flash and call that flash divine. Who keeps the light in the quiet brain? Who keeps it when we sleep? Who folds our scattered histories and stitches what we keep? We are the sum of small survivals, the questions wide and deep. Cartography of consciousness, a map we draw, a map we keep. So chart your roads with kindness, name the shadow, name the flame. We are maps that learn each morning to reveal